Hi everyone, Allie here from The Family Meeple. Today I am back with you for the second part of my 2023 Top 100 Games of All Time Countdown. Today we're going to be looking at games 90 through 81. If you missed the first part of this series, I will link to it in the description below. I also will link in the description below to my list from 2021 showing the games that were in the 90 to 81 range at that time. If you haven't checked out the intro video, I will also put a link to that in the description so that you can check it out. It talks just a little bit about how I made the list and all of the changes from my 2021 list, which is the most recent one before this. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started with number 90. To start us off today, coming in at number 90 is Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars did appear on my list in 2021. In 2021, it came in at number 28. So this is a drop of 62 since the original list in 2021. And Terraforming Mars was originally published in 2016. It is designed by Jacob Frillius, I believe that's how you pronounce it, with artwork by Isaac Frillius, and the publishers were Freaks Games and Stronghold Games. I picked up Terraforming Mars in 2020 when I was first getting into the hobby, and I picked it up because it was on sale, to be perfectly honest. It didn't look like necessarily a theme or art style that I was going to be really that interested in, but I decided to give it a try based on all of the quality ratings and how much people seem to really enjoy it. I did find that the complaints about the component quality were valid. So my copy has been upgraded with a insert from the Broken Token, which is a wood insert including wood double layered player boards, which is super helpful. I do really enjoy Terraforming Mars. I like the tableau building and all of the cards in the massive deck that you have, but I find that I play it more on the digital app these days than trying to get the full box out. And this is primarily because I have only played this game solo outside of a couple of multiplayer games through the digital app. So Terraforming Mars, if you are not familiar, is a tableau building, and if you are playing multiplayer, it's a drafting game. But essentially what you're doing is you are trying to terraform Mars by adding water to the planet surface, by terraforming it with vegetation, by building cities, and increasing the heat and oxygen levels until they are to a level that people could live on. So you are increasing all of these levels and moving up these tracks throughout the game in an effort to terraform the planet. If you are playing with multiplayer, then everyone is contributing to that terraforming action. And if you're playing solo, you have to terraform the planet by yourself. And that's the primary focus of the solo game, is just simply trying to get that planet terraformed within 18 rounds. It's super challenging, but I do enjoy the challenge and have had fun playing it. It is one that I need to get back to the table. So that is my number 90, Terraforming Mars. Number 89 is a game that might be unexpected for people to see on my list. It is new to the list. It was not on the original in 2021. It is Dr. Seuss Grinch Grow Your Heart, the card game. This card game was published in 2021. It is designed and published by Funko Games, and all of the artwork is from them as well. But it basically uses a classic Dr. Seuss Grinch illustration style. So Dr. Seuss's Grinch Grow Your Heart is a very, very simple little rummy style set collection card game that plays over a number of rounds. It is a combination of your typical sort of rummy card game combined with Yahtzee, because each round you can complete a type of set. So you could, for example, collect cards that are all the blue cards, or you could collect all yellow cards, or you could collect cards that are all different colors, or you could collect cards that are in a run. So there's different sets that you can make on each round, but you can't do the same set twice in the same game. So as you progress through the game, your options for the types of sets that you're going to make become more and more limited. You start the game with, I believe, 2 or 3 cards in hand, and each round you are going to draw 2 cards, and then you're going to keep one of them and discard one of them. Most of the players are playing as Who characters, and one player is going to play as the Grinch. And the player that's currently playing as the Grinch will get to wait until all of the Who characters have drawn their 2 cards and made a decision about what card to discard. And then the Grinch character can draw their cards either from the deck or from the top of any of the discard piles. So it gives you a slight advantage. The Grinch position will actually rotate each round, so everyone will have an even number of turns or rounds that they get to play as the Grinch. I just really enjoy this game. It is so much fun to play with my daughters. It's very, very simple. It's very, very quick. And so it's one that sees the table not only at Christmas time, but all year round. It's a great one for multi-generational plays if you have people of varying ages and skills. It's a light game that anyone can play. If you see a copy of this one, I definitely recommend checking it out. That is my number 89, Grinch Grow Your Heart, the card game. Coming in at 88 is another new game to the list. This is Mr. Cabbage Head's Garden. Mr. Cabbage Head's Garden was published in 2021. It was designed by Todd Sanders, with artwork also by Todd Sanders, and it was published by Ludi Creations and TGG Games. This is one that I picked up in 2021. It is a fantastic little card game. So in Mr. Cabbage Head's Garden, you are playing either solo or 2 players. And I have only played this game solo, which was, I believe the original design was as a solo game. But you are going to be building out a tableau of cards in front of you, which are all different kinds of vegetables that you're growing into your garden. So you're going to be selecting a card on each of your turns that is either going to be on the left, the center, or the right of the display. And you have these little B resources that you will use throughout the game. And if you take a card, I believe from the left, you get a B with the card. If you take a card from the right, then you have to spend a B in order to take that card. The card in the center is free to take no matter what. These cards have different values on them as well. So you are going to try to arrange these vegetables into your garden in certain patterns to score the most points. So for example, in one of the objectives, you would want to have a pair of vegetables in the top left corner, a pair of vegetables in the top right corner, and a pair of vegetables in the bottom row centered. And if you can do that by the end of the game, then you'll earn a bunch of points. There are several different ways that you can earn points. Not all of them will work together. In fact, most of them will not work together. And what makes this game really fun is 3 times during the game, as you get through the first third, the second third, and then at the end of the deck, you will have a holiday break where your nosy neighbors are going to come and mess with your garden. And this works in a majority mechanism. So as you are selecting cards, one of the decision points that you're going to be making, along with whether you have bees to spend or need bees or just what vegetable you want, is each of the cards will dictate how many tokens are drawn from the neighbor bag. And as you draw these tokens, you set them on the matching neighbor, and whoever has the most at the end of the round, when it's time for the holiday break, they will come and visit, and each neighbor will impact your garden in a specific way. So some of them will say, discard the highest valued turnip, or discard the card next to the carrots. It'll be something that is going to typically discard cards from your garden, which will impact your score in a negative way. But if the neighbors that have the most tokens on them are tied, then they're too busy arguing with each other and they don't visit your garden at all. The version that I bought was the deluxe version, and it has, I think, somewhere in the range of like 12 neighbors or something like that. It might be even more, but there's a ton of different neighbor characters that you can mix and match and change up your plays. It plays extremely quickly, and I really enjoy it as a solo game. It does have some really funky artwork on it, and not everyone is a fan of that. It's a little bit creepy, so if you're not into sort of wacky, creepy artwork, this might not be the game for you, but I personally really enjoy it. I do need to try it 2-player. I think that this is one that my daughter Rory might enjoy, so we will try that hopefully in the near future. So that is my number 88, Mr. Cabbagehead's Garden. Number 87 is King Domino Origins. Now, this space could be taken up by the standard King Domino as well. The games are extremely similar, and so I only ranked one of them in this list. But my pick between the two is actually the newer, which is King Domino Origins. It did not appear on my list in 2021 because this was a 2021 release towards the end of the year. And this one is designed by Bruno Cathala with artwork from Cyril Bouquet, and the publisher is Blue Orange Games. I would have to go back and check to see. I think King Domino was probably on my original list, but I am not sure where it was at originally. So this one is considered a new entry on the list. So King Domino Origins is a version of the original King Domino game where players have domino-shaped tiles, which is basically just a 2-square combined tile that they will be placing. And you will be drafting these tiles each round from a display. There will always be 4 tiles in the display, no matter how many people are playing, and they are arranged based on the kind of the value of those tiles. So they all have numbers on the back. When you draw out 4, you'll arrange them in the order of the numbers. And then players will select a tile to add to their own personal kingdom. And as you place your tile, you will take your Meeple, which in the Origins version is like a little caveman, really cute. You will move it to the next row and select the tile that you're going to place in the next round. And that determines player order. So if you take the sort of less valuable tiles at the top, then you'll go sooner in the next round and be able to potentially pick the tile that you want. King Domino Origins plays in 3 different modes. The first mode is basically just the original King Dominoes. It has a little bit of an addition with the volcano tokens, but it's very, very simple, easy for anyone to understand, and it's one that you can play with kids, with adults, anyone. It's one of my mom's favorites is King Domino. It also includes 2 additional modes that you can play that add things like resources. I haven't actually played with those yet, but they look really fun. I've read through the rules, and it's something that I'd like to check out with my mom the next time that she visits because she does like the original so much. So that is my number 87, King Domino Origins. Coming in at number 86 is another new game to the list, and this is, I believe, the smallest game that you will see in my top 100. This is a button-shy game, which is Tussie Mussy from designer Elizabeth Hargrave. Tussie Mussy has artwork from Beth Sobel, Loic Bilio, Carolina Jedrzejczyk, and Zarina Karapetanian. I apologize if I have completely butchered those names. I tried my best. So Tussie Mussy was published originally in 2019, and it is a simple 18-card game. So if you're familiar with button shy games, most of them come in these little wallet size, like just plastic wallets with 18 cards is kind of their gimmick. And Tussie Mussie is the first one that I bought from their collection based on my enjoyment of Wingspan, which is also from designer Elizabeth Hargrave. And in Tussie Mussie, you are making flower arrangements. It plays from 1 to 4 players, I believe, and I have played it both 1 player and 2 player with my daughter Rory, who is 9. So it is something that's very simple, but it does require reading. So if you have children that aren't reading independently yet, this is not one that's going to work for them. You do have to be able to read independently and understand basic game mechanics in order to really play this one. So in the game, you are going to take turns making an offer of flowers. So the offer of flowers that's going to go in the middle, you will draw 2 cards, you will look at them, and then you will decide one of them you're going to place face down and the other one you're going to place face up. And then your opponent, or the player, I believe to your left, if you're playing with more than 2 players, will pick the one that they want to add to their bouquet arrangement. They're all flowers. And they can either pick the one that's face down and keep it face down, or they can pick the one that's face up and keep it face up. The face up cards are part of your bouquet. The face down cards are considered keepsakes, and that will come into play because each of the cards will have on the bottom text about how it scores. Some of the cards will score for things like keepsakes that are next to it in your display. So you would want to place that card after you've already had a keepsake in your display, and then try to place a keepsake after it. Some of the cards will cancel each other out. So some will ask you to have hearts on cards, and others will ask you to have no cards that have hearts on them. So it's a little bit of a gamble in this I split you choose sort of game of what is that face down card, and is the other person trying to tempt me with it because they don't want it, or do they actually want it? So it's really fun. It plays extremely quickly. You typically will play 3 rounds total, and then each round you are only playing 4 cards into your display. So again, very quick. It's one that it just lives in my purse. We take it wherever we go. We can play it if we're out at a restaurant waiting for our food, or we've played it when we're waiting for like music lessons or some other sort of activity for the kids. It also plays solo. There's a mini expansion that you have to buy in order to play the solo that comes with just a few cards that dictates how the solo AI collects cards for their display. And it is extremely challenging because the AI actually will gain additional cards for the second 2 rounds. So you are competing against them when they have 6 cards to your 4 in that 3rd round. But that is my number 86 Tussie Mussie. Coming in at 85 is Shot and Totten. Shot and Totten is a game that was on my list in 2021. In 2021, it came in at 41 on my list, so it has dropped 44 places. But again, there's so many new games that's just sort of par for the course that a lot of these have dropped. I still very much enjoy this game. Shot and Totten was designed by Reiner Knizia and the version I have was published by Yellow Games. The artwork is from Dorian Bokhorst, Jean-Baptiste Reynaud, Barbel Scarabello, and Pieter Sokotowiski. Again, I apologize if I am completely butchering people's names. So Shot and Totten is a game from 1999 that I picked up in 2020. It is a 2-player only tug-of-war game that utilizes a poker hand mechanic. So in the game, you are going to lay out 15 stones or tiles in front of you, between you and the other player. And then you'll be dealt a hand of cards. And on your turn, all you're going to do is play 1 card to one of the locations in front of the stones on your side. That's it. What you're trying to do is to have a better poker hand at the location than your opponent when there are 3 cards played there. So once you've played 3 cards on both sides, then you'll look and see who has the better poker hand, and then the stone will move to that player's side. They will collect that stone. The first player to collect, I believe it's 5 stones, or to collect 3 that are adjacent to each other wins. So it's a very simple game. It's one that I have played with people who don't generally play a lot of games, because most people will understand the basics of poker hands, 3-card poker hands. And it also has a nice little reference card for both players that literally just tells you this is the order of the hands, this is what wins. So you can see what's there. There's also a sort of mini module expansion that comes in the box where you can add in these like special ability cards. I haven't actually played with that yet, but this is just a really fun little 2-player game that's nice to get out. It also comes in a really small box, so you can take it with you. I've taken it with us on vacations. So if you are a fan of 2-player games or are looking for something that's very simple, it has no reading, so it's great for families, and I would recommend it. So that is Shot and Totten, which is my 85. Number 84 is another game from Pencil First Games by Eduardo Baroff and Steve Finn. This one is the newest game in their nature-themed game line, which is Delicious. Delicious was published in 2022, so it is new to the list and was not on the list in 2021. Delicious is a flip and write game that is based on a garden, a vegetable and fruit garden. So in Delicious, each player is going to have a sheet of paper that shows a garden with funky planter boxes. So some of them are like wheelbarrows or a boot or a bathtub, I think are some of them. So it's this sort of whimsical garden that you're building, and you will have 2 cards in a display. One is on top and one is on bottom. You will flip a card over on each round and add a token that is either going to be a tool or a fruit. All of the cards are vegetables. And then everyone is going to be playing at the same time, and you will select either one or both of the cards to draw that fruit into your vegetable garden. And each of the players on their player board will see the options for taking cards. So one of the options is that you can take 1 card and you have to draw the fruit in the garden that matches. So if it's the top card, you have to draw it in the top garden. Or there's an action where you can take 1 card, but you have to draw it in the opposite garden. So if it's the top card, you have to draw it in the bottom. And there's rules around how you want to draw these vegetables in. So some of the containers want everything to be all the same. Some of them want them all to be different. And so you are planning out how you're going to take these cards on each of your turns. And each of those options you can only use a set number of times. So you will use all of them at some point during the game. And the challenge is deciding when to use those abilities to take both cards or to take 1 card, because you will have to use all of them at some point, but everyone can do it differently. And you will also be able to use the tools to draw in some free vegetables. And then there's a couple other options on your scorecard that you can you can change the type of vegetable to a different type once. You can add a bonus for a specific type of vegetable within your garden, and a couple other things in the game. It's not too complex of a game, but if you haven't played a flip and write game before, it can be a little bit to grasp the first time that you get into it and really understand the concept of the vegetable cards mattering if it's on the top or the bottom of the options and how that plays into where you can actually draw it on your scorecard. It does include 2 solo modes out of the box. One is essentially just play the game and see how well you can score. And then the other solo mode introduces a pesky neighbor, which is a crow who will move around your garden board as you're playing and block off certain areas so that some of the containers are actually off limit to you. So that is, I think, the first flip and write, roll and write on my list. It will not be the last. It certainly is a style of game that I enjoy and one that I have really liked playing. Delicious, like I said, was designed by Eduardo Baroff and Steve Finn, published by Pencil First Games, and the artwork in this is from Clementine Campardu, and the artwork is absolutely stunning. It's a watercolor style of vegetables and fruits, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So that is my number 84, Delicious. Number 83 is Mystery of the Temples. Mystery of the Temples is another new game to the list. It's not one that I had played in 2021, although I picked up the game in 2020. It does not include a solo mode, which is why it took me until 2021 to actually get it to the table and play it, but it's one that I have definitely enjoyed. So Mystery of the Temples was published by Emperor S4 Games as well as Deepwater Games here in the States. It was designed by Wei Min Ling and artwork is by Meisherly. It is a 2017 release and it's part of a series of games that Deepwater brought over from Asia that's all from this Emperor S4 publisher. So other ones in this line include Hanamikoji, I believe, is the most popular, but there are several within this series as well. And I actually picked these up as a set of games when I picked up Hanamikoji. So it included, I think, 5 or 6 total games from Emperor S4. Mystery of the Temples is a rondel style movement game. It comes in a really small box and the rondel is created with cards out on the table. And some of the cards, every other card is going to be a temple that has a specific configuration of gems at the top of different colors. So it might be blue, purple, green, red, for example. And then on the other side, it may be a different combination of colors. And what you're trying to do is collect gems by moving around this rondel and landing on the cards that are in between the temples, which will gain you different colored gems or white wild colored gems. And when you gain the gems, you're actually going to add them to your personal player board. It's just a card that goes in front of you. And it's connected in like a diamond pattern. So when you place the gems on your board, you want to place them in such a way that you create a pattern of these different colored gems that matches the pattern that's on the temples. So once you have enough gems in the right colors, in the right pattern, you will stop and visit one of the temples, and then you'll turn in the gems in that pattern to place one of your markers and score points. The higher the pattern that you can make, if you can make it all the way up to the middle, then you'll claim the middle section, which is worth more points, versus if you can only complete 2 or 3 of them, then you'll still be able to complete it, but you won't get as many points for doing it. At a certain point, there will be enough of the temples completed that it will trigger the game end. That's basically how it plays. There's probably some other rules, nuances that I'm forgetting. It's been a while since I played it, but this is one that does not include a solo. I played it with my mom, and we both really enjoyed it. It's simple enough from a concept perspective that if you're new to gaming or you just enjoy lighter games, it's easy to pick up and definitely stays competitive. The scores were really, really close. I think it ended up coming down to a tiebreaker on our first game, and it's one that my mom agreed that she wanted to play again after we played it for the first time. I love all of the components. The artwork is beautiful. The gems are always satisfying. Everybody loves gems in games. And like I said, it comes in a tiny box, so you can take it along, and you don't need a lot of table space either. So if you haven't heard of this one, I would recommend check it out, see if it's one that you can try and play somewhere. That is my number 83, Mystery of the Temples. Coming in at number 82 is Sierra West. Sierra West is a 2019 game. It was published by Board and Dice and designed by Johnny Pack. It has artwork from Michael Dugage and Jacob Fajtanowski. Again, very difficult names for some of these artists in particular, so I apologize. Sierra West is new to the list. It's one that I did not pick up, I believe, until 2022. Yeah, 2022. It was originally published in 2019, and it intrigued me because you are building out a pyramid not only in the center of the table with cards where you're going to be drafting and taking cards from this giant pyramid, but you're also playing cards into a pyramid on your own personal player board, and then that's how you're going to get the actions that are available to you on that turn. So this is one that I included on my solo challenge at the end of last year. If you want more information about the solo specifically, you can definitely go and check that video out. But the premise of Sierra West is there are actually 4 different games in one box. So a lot of the game mechanics are sort of core mechanics and will be consistent throughout all of the 4 different modes, but there's a bunch of different rules and cards and components for each of the different modes. So you won't be using the same components or following the same rules on each of the different versions of the game. They all do include the mechanism of having the mountain that's built out in front of you, and they all include the mechanism of your own personal player board and creating that pyramid with the cards from your hand. So in Sierra West, what you're going to be doing is on your turn, you will have 3 cards in your hand. You have to play those 3 cards. You can't draw other cards or change what's in your hand. You just have to play them. But what you can do is you decide how they're going to be ordered and overlapped on your pyramid. And then once you've decided how they're going to be played, then you will take your 2 workers and move them across the trail that you created with these cards and take the actions as they move across the trail until they get to the end. And then you can move them up to the top, and there's basically worker placement spaces at the top, which allow you to move up on tracks for things like meat and gold, and I think wood and stone are the resources. In the apple version of the game, you can increase your apple tracks as well. And then you can also take actions like hiking up the mountain, digging out the cards in the mountain, which add to your deck and are new cards for you to add into your pyramid when they come up. You can also move your wagon across, which will work as a multiplier for the tracks. That's the main scoring mechanism in all of the modes, is that you will multiply the level that you reached on the tracks with the level that you reached on your wagon. So that's a very high-level overview of Sierra West. I definitely enjoyed it. It's one that's going to stay in my collection at least for a while. I would like to play it multiplayer and see how it works in that mode. So I just need to find someone that is willing to play it with me. Maybe I can talk my mom into it the next time that she visits. But that is my number 82 Sierra West. Okay, rounding out this list and coming in at number 81 is Pebble Rock Delivery Service. And this is probably another shocker to people. This is a family weight game for sure. Pebble Rock Delivery Service was new to the list this year. It was not on the list in 2021. It was originally published in 2021, and it's one that I picked up towards the end of the year. It was published by Skybound Games, designed by Tristam Rosen, and also artwork by Tristam Rosen. Pebble Rock Delivery Service is a roll and move game, which again is probably a mechanism that people don't expect to see on a top 100 games list, but it is so much fun the way that the roll and move works in this game. So you have 2 different options on your turn of the dice that you want to roll. If you are feeling lucky and you want to press your luck, then you can roll the red dice, which we always call the danger dice. And what you'll get is a higher number on your movement. But the other dice that you're rolling is for an event that's going to happen. And the events that are on the red dice are primarily not good. So it's things like calling the pirate over to you, which will cause you to lose cargo from your ship. Or you can play it safe and you can roll the green dice, which are like the friendly dice. You won't be able to move as far. The movement numbers are lower on the green dice, but all of the events on the green dice are good. So you choose at the beginning of your turn which of those two dice pairs you're going to roll, and then you can move up to the number that you rolled. So you're not just dictating that if I roll a 6, I am moving 6. You can move up to that many spaces and decide where you want to land. This game is a set collection game. What you are trying to do is, and it's a little bit of pick up and deliver too. So you are trying to take cargo to specific locations around this like circular board and drop them off. So you will have out on the central like market board a set of, I believe it's usually 4 like objective cards. So one of them might say that you want to deliver 2 cargo to one specific island, and they're all like animal themed. So there's one with bears and one with like lemurs and penguins and all kinds of things. It's super cute. So if you can be the first one to go and deliver those 2 cargo to that specific island, then you will collect that order card and it goes into your own personal tableau. There's several different colors and you can earn points from collecting one of each. And then you'll also have a personal objective that you select at the beginning of the round of the game that typically has something to do with collecting 5 blues or 3 reds and a yellow, something like that. So it'll tell you kind of a direction to go in to earn some extra points. You can also do things like upgrade your ship so that you can hold more cargo. You can collect item cards from the shop that will help you along the way. Do things like deterring the pirate. If he comes towards you, you can play the card and he won't attack you and make you lose your cargo. But that's how it plays out. One of the nice things about the game, because it is a family weight game, is that the player who is behind, because you'll be scoring points throughout the game as you complete these different objective cards, whoever is in last place from a points perspective can roll the red movement die and the green event die so they can get a higher movement without the risk of the bad events, which is a really nice little catch-up mechanism for families and for younger gamers to just sort of even things out. This is one that we have played quite a bit, and I will basically never say no to this game. I would play this game without my kids even being present. It's just a super fun, simple roll and move, pick up and deliver, set collection game that is basically everything I would have been looking for in a game as a kid. And now that I'm an adult, it's one that I enjoy playing with my kids and with anyone. So that is going to round us out for today. Number 81 is Pebble Rock Delivery Service. Okay, that wraps it up for today. That is numbers 90 through 81. And we would love to hear from you. If you like this comment, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel so that you can follow along with the rest of my countdown. Leave us a comment below. What are your favorite games, or what on my list surprised you? Until the next one, please consider following us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. And have fun playing games with your family, friends, and even solo. Until next time, bye.